Today I'm continuing my series on different bookkeeping niches, and I'm going to talk about startups today. So how you can be a bookkeeper for startup businesses. My name is Morgan from FinePoints.biz, and I love to help you get organized. Make sure you hit the red subscribe button down below to get a new video from me every single week. All right, so I've talked about lawyers, I talked about medical billing, I talked about nonprofits, and leave me a comment down below if there's any other ones you want me to cover. And I wasn't sure how much I had to say about startups, but I actually discovered I have a lot to say, and I do think it's a pretty common business for you as a newer bookkeeper to get started with. All right, so first I'm going to go through some pros and cons with startups, and then I'm going to talk about kind of through the process of how you would help a new entrepreneur who's starting their business. All right, some of the things that I see as pros, and you might actually see these as cons depending on your personality and what you like to do, but some of the things that I enjoy is that you are there to create a lot of systems and put new processes in place. So usually I observe with like newer business owners, they know their craft really well. They might not have all the processes and how they collect money and all that. They might not have good systems for that. And so I define startups pretty broadly also. It's basically like, I think of it as like a solopreneur or someone who started their business in the last year, a couple years, or just started making money, and they're finally kind of ready to hire like their first bookkeeper. And overall, I think it is usually a simpler like business structure in that case, because they haven't had like years and years to like refine really complex like systems, or like, you know, they don't have like a weird invoicing thing that's like complicated, but you're kind of like starting from the beginning with this person and going through it. So initially it does seem pretty simple, but you as a bookkeeper do have to like project a lot of confidence, because in this case, you're the expert. You are kind of the one like leading the person like down this path, and you're helping them out. And even though you might not feel like you know all the answers, you probably know way more than they do. All right, so and then in this pro column as well, you know, you're teaching, you're setting up systems, and the other pro I thought is you feel really helpful. Just working one-on-one with this business owner, you know, they might have been by themselves for a while now, and they finally have someone in their office that they can talk to and they can bounce ideas off of, and they feel like you're there to help them. So in that case, you really see the person, and you know, you see their business, and it's not like you're working for like a big corporation bookkeeping for like a multi-million-dollar company. It's like a person who has a business, and you're really, really helping them out. So that is definitely a pro for working for startups. All right, and a couple cons. One is that I feel like the income might be less stable in startups, just because they don't have like a history of really established clients that are really reliable, and depending on the situation, they might. But I've found that I never feel like I can charge as much for startups almost, because I don't know, maybe it's like the personal connection too, because you just see this person like starting out. So that's kind of maybe a stereotype. I mean, maybe their business is doing awesome. Maybe they're like rocking it and they're making like $500,000 and they don't have any employees, so that's pretty much all going to them, and then they can definitely afford a bookkeeper. But just in general, you might see those fluctuations more so than with an established business. And the second con, you may have kind of gathered in me talking about this, but it can feel chaotic. So depending on the personality of who you're working with, you know, it could be like, okay, let's hurry up and get this done. There might be really, really like tight deadlines, and they want to like hurry up and finish a ton of work. They might actually get really overwhelmed and not talk to you for a few weeks and just kind of like work on the other parts of their business that they need to do. Or it might be overwhelming how much catch-up is needed, or all the systems that are kind of broken and need fixing. So you kind of do have to come to it with like a can-do like attitude with a lot of grit, and just kind of like tame that chaos. And I thought through kind of like the setup process that you might need to go through with a startup, and I'll kind of like outline that for you. Let me know in the comments if you think of anything else that I forgot. So the first thing that I want you to think about is make sure that business owners is separating their business expenses from their personal, because sometimes when we start out businesses, we don't always do the greatest job of that, which you might see in multiple cases as a bookkeeper that you come across. So talk to the business owner about their practices. They probably know if they're making that mistake. If it's a lot, you might need to wait till you're in QuickBooks and, you know, send them a list of transactions that you think might be personal. You know, like, are these restaurants business ones? Like Old Navy, did you really buy that? Something for your business? Probably not. But just kind of get a sense for how they think that they're doing in that area. And then you, again, are going to have to put some kind of process in or system in place to help them remember not to do that. And I think my hunch is the more that they work with a bookkeeper, they're going to get better at that. That is what I have noticed. Usually it's just if they're not being, you know, held accountable, then oftentimes people just do what's easiest. So you, as their bookkeeper, are now here to help them get organized. All right, and then you're going to want to help them set up their QuickBooks file or whatever their accounting software is. So me as a bookkeeper, I recommend just kind of specializing in one. So I pretty much only take on clients that use QuickBooks Online. If it's a tiny business, maybe you're able to do it in Excel. I actually have a video that I'll link here. This is what the thumbnail looks like. That talks about how to do bookkeeping in Excel. All right, so once you kind of are in QuickBooks, you have the bank feeds hooked up, and you're starting to go, and you are categorizing those transactions. You're sending the ones you don't know to the business owner so that they can help categorize them. After you kind of have that process down and like a little bit, under your belt, then I would start to look at the other processes in the business and what needs to be fixed in those. So take a look at how they're invoicing things. Ask what their current process is. Like, are they just writing hand invoices and handing it to their clients? Maybe you can put that into QuickBooks so that their clients will be emailed an invoice. And then when they pay, you will collect the money and you'll mark it paid on the invoice. So set up a system for their invoicing. Same with what I just mentioned, like bank deposits. So how are they bringing their money? What other different sources of income? Are they getting cash? Are they getting checks? Are they taking credit cards? Kind of take a look at all of that and see if there's any holes, see if there's any pain points, and set up a system for that, of course. And similarly with bills. So how are they paying stuff? How are they doing the outgoing stuff? Maybe do they have debit cards? Do they have credit cards that are confusing or mixed up? Are they using bill pay through their bank? Do you need to suggest maybe using an outside app like bill.com? Set up a system for that. Same with receipts. How are they managing their receipts? Are they stuffing them in their wallet or in their purse? Do you need to set up file folders for them? Do you want to track them in QuickBooks? I have videos all about that I'll link here. That I'll link down in the description box, but I'll put the thumbnail here. So set up a system for bills. And then when it comes to reporting, it's kind of fun because you are the one who gets to take initiative, because you can see all the reports in QuickBooks and think about what is going to be most helpful to that business owner. So, usually we give them a profit and loss and a balance sheet. Maybe they want a list of all their open invoices so they can see how much money they need to collect and where they need to be spending that time. Or maybe that's your job. Maybe you see that it would be helpful if they could break up their different streams of income instead of in one lump sum. Maybe they can track the different areas, the different streams of income, and then see what is most profitable for their business. Maybe you want to pull like a report by month so they can see what they've made January, February, March, April, May, and kind of compare month to month. So again, it's you taking initiative, you kind of leading the business owner instead of like feeling, maybe sometimes for big businesses, you might just be following a process that's already put in place. So you kind of feel maybe more like an employee or, like you're following someone else or you're not the boss. But for startups, oftentimes, because you are the one with the knowledge, you are the one who's setting up processes and kind of advising and taking initiative for different things. That can be really fun. So let me know down in the comments what you think of bookkeeping for startups. I know my friend here on YouTube, financial coach Jess, she said she loves bookkeeping for startups. That's her kind of niche that she wants to develop, and it's her favorite kind. And so you can leave her a comment and ask her what her thoughts are and why she loves startups so much. And if you're just getting started as a bookkeeper, I have lots of resources. I have one about how to become a bookkeeper with a decision tree chart that tells you each step of the way what you need to do. You can either do like the DIY approach or the more hand-holding approach. And I have a lot of free resources. They'll be linked down in the description. I have a class that helps you start your bookkeeping business in 30 days. So if you made it all the way to the end, make sure to give this video a thumbs up because that helps me out a ton and helps my channel get more engagement. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.